how I'm going to achieve every single goal that I set for myself in 2025 and how you can do it too. Quick disclaimer before we get into it. The goals that you set for yourself today may not be the goals that align with every version of you that is to come over the next 12 months. And that is okay. And it is an incredibly good thing because it indicates that you are evolving and you are growing, which you absolutely should do as a human being. So if there are goals that you need to shed, that you need to pivot, that you need to deprioritize, do not be afraid to do that because that creates more space for you to focus and be intentional with the ones that are remaining that do actually align with you. Now, the timing for this video is not just because we are about to enter a new year. It's for another reason as well, which I'll tell you in a second. But I also want to establish some credibility for myself as to why you should listen to me about achieving your goals. Now, why should you listen to this video and why should you listen to me sitting on my floor, talking to a microphone, stuck on my lip gloss? Well, let me tell you, if there is one thing I am good at, it is achieving the goals that I set for myself year on year on year. Now, I was pulling this bad boy off my wall just before, and this is my marathon training plan. I completed the New York City Marathon last month, and I just uploaded my marathon vlog before this, starting to film this. So I was left reflecting on that whole experience and just thinking about how I went from this marathon being a dream, almost a lifelong dream, to me committing to it at the start of 2024 and saying, I am going to make this happen this year, to all of the prep work that went into before this plan even started, and then going through each of these 18 weeks, making it to race day, finishing roughly around my goal time, but most importantly, finishing feeling how I wanted to feel. That all didn't happen by chance. It happened through clarity of what my goal was, consistency of sticking to the plan, but thirdly, and most importantly, flexibility. Now, consistency and flexibility might sound like a bit of a paradox, but you know that life is going to throw you curveballs. It is almost inevitable. So what is most important is how you adapt to those curveballs is what is most important, rather than just sticking to a very rigid plan. And using this as my demonstration here, I didn't do 100% of these workouts. I probably did 90% of them. And then there was probably another 10% that I tweaked. I didn't do the exact programmed workout. But guess what? It got me to my goal. And it also allowed me to deal with the other things that were happening in life along the way, because your plan for how you're going to achieve something is not always, for the most part, how you get there. So you need to ride that wave, you need to ride that journey, and you need to know from the outset that it is going to be a journey and you're going to be cool with it. So that is the credibility. This is only one example of many in my life where I have achieved the goals that I've set for myself year on year on year. And I'm going to share with you now 5 of the things that you should be doing that are going to help you do the exact same thing. Number 1, you might already be able to guess, is mindset. Believing that you can and that you will. Before I even signed up to this race, I knew and I could see myself crossing the finish line. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew for an absolute fact that it was going to happen. And if I didn't feel that way already before signing up for this, I don't think I would have signed up for it. Because why start something from a place of doubt or a place of uncertainty? I believe this is an absolute non-negotiable, and if you do not cultivate the self-confidence, the self-belief, and the knowing that you can and you will, then you are putting yourself at a disadvantage. Now, why are you, of all people, you being the one who wants to achieve this thing, you are the one who came up with the idea, you are the one who decided you want to do it, presumably, why are you the one who is doubting yourself and telling yourself you can't do it? You are the one who wants it. It makes kind of more sense for others or something external to say, no, I don't think you can do that. But you should know you can do it because that's why the idea came into your head in the first place. I know it's not easy to just wake up and suddenly believe that you can and believe that you do. It can take years of tiny, tiny steps of going through the confidence and competence loop. In order to be competent at something, you need to build confidence around it. But in order to build confidence around the thing, you need to be competent and good at the thing. So how do you do that? Well, guess what? You just need to take tiny, tiny steps. The tiniest step that you take will reinforce the fact that you can do it. So you are somewhat competent. That will build confidence. Therefore, you can then take the next step and so on and so forth. Another thing that really helps me when it comes to mindset and believing that I can is thinking about the things that other people achieve. And if they can achieve that, why can't I? There are people out there who are far less intelligent than you, far less productive than you, maybe less privileged, and they are out there achieving the thing that they want. So why on earth can you not do that, right? So you don't have to be special, and you have to realize that the other people out there achieving their things are not special either. But them achieving the thing is maybe what makes them sit on this pedestal that you put them on. So put yourself on that pedestal and know that you deserve to be there. Okay, number 2, you need to set up systems in advance of starting to make progress towards your goals. Systems will trump motivation any day. Just like discipline has to trump motivation every single day. Systems are going to ensure that you can show up when you don't want to. Now, you already know how to do this. Now, this is a really good example of a system. Rather than showing up week by week to my marathon training and thinking about what it is that I should do, I set this up like probably a month before week 1 actually started. This is a 4.5 months training plan, and I probably set this up 5.5 months before the marathon. So I set myself up with a system well in advance of having to actually start it. So at the start of every week, at the start or at the end of every workday when I knew I had to do something, I didn't have to think. It was already there, and I knew what I was working towards every single week because there was also a weekly kilometer goal that was super helpful for me to have that I really enjoyed ticking off. I'm such a paper and pen person. So whatever you're trying to achieve, no matter how big or small, you need to find a way to break it down. And I know we get told this all the time, but think about how many times you actually do that. Also, you should make your systems fun for you. Do it in a way that you want to use it. So for me, I don't want to use an app for my training plans. I don't want to use a spreadsheet. I don't want it to be digital. I wanted it to be scrappy. Like, look, I literally ripped a page off a scrapbook. Like the lines on this page are crooked, but I love that. I love that it was created by me. I've sellotaped 2 pieces of paper together. I've made mistakes on this, so I've crossed them out. I love that. Like I spilt some water here, so it's all smudgy. I don't know what it is, but the creative side of me absolutely loves that I made this from scratch. It's like a piece of art. And then I stuck it on my wall and I saw it every day. And I loved crossing each workout off. That is what motivated me. Almost knowing that I got to cross off something was sometimes the reason. Sometimes, on some days, the reason why I actually went out and did the workout rather than logging onto an app and like ticking something off. No, I don't want to do that. So you've got to create a system that is fun for you, is sustainable for you. Just like with working out and eating healthy, you got to do it based on what you enjoy, what your preference is, not what someone is telling you to do or the way that you think it should be done. A very different example of systems is automating investments or automating savings. If you know you're someone who struggles to save, or if you know that you're lazy when it comes to putting some of your money into investments, just automate it. Another example from my life is that I have always wanted to invest in the stock market, and I also wanted some exposure to Bitcoin. But I just never got around to it for years and years and years. But about 4 years ago, I decided to automate it. And I started really small, maybe with like $50 a week that would automatically get transferred from my bank account to the investment tool that I was using, and it would dollar cost average and invest in an ETF for me. And I did the same thing with Bitcoin a couple of years ago. And I've just left that on autopilot. So no matter what I'm doing, no matter what is going on in life, I know that I'm making progress towards those investment goals that I have. Create a different system for different goals, for different habits. Again, make it fun, make it creative, make it work around you and your lifestyle. Quite frankly, if you do not have a system for achieving especially the bigger goals that you have, you're most likely not going to achieve them. It can totally happen, but the chances of success are far less because you haven't equipped yourself and enabled yourself to ensure that you make regular, even small, but consistent progress. So that is what a system will allow you to do. There are definitely goals that you can and will achieve without a full-on system in place, but there is also the chance that you won't achieve them because you'll leave them too late, or you'll try and do it all at once and it'll be overwhelming. Like there are so many things that can go wrong. So don't leave it to chance. Just set it up for yourself. And that's also going to free you mentally because you will not have the guilt of not making progress towards those goals. Number 3, you need to remove anything and everything that does not align with you achieving your goals. That could be activities, hobbies, people, beliefs, distractions, anything and everything that is not aligned with what it is that you want. Why would you want it to occupy space and energy and effort in your life? Now, when I talk about distractions and removing things, I'm not just talking about the really superficial stuff like scrolling on your phone too much, watching too much Netflix, like going out partying. I think those are kind of superficial things because there are multiple layers of reasons why you are doing those things, and that is really what you need to solve. The other way in which I think about what I should remove in order to get me closer and better aligned to my goals is thinking about what gives me energy and what takes my energy. I am constantly auditing how I'm feeling from an energy perspective. I'm naturally a very reflective person, so this does come easy to me, but you might have your own version of this. Maybe you are someone that is always very high energy and you're not deeply reflective, and that is totally fine. But there are still going to be things in your life aren't going to align to your goals. So you need to find your own way of identifying those. For me, I identify those things based on my energy levels and what peaks my energy and what troughs my energy. And when you identify these things, I know it can be hard to remove them, to remove a distraction, to maybe say no to someone, to protect your space and to protect your energy. And if you're not able to do that, I think it really comes back to how serious was your commitment to your goals. If you are not able to do anything and everything to achieve the dreams that you have, then maybe those are not the right dreams because clearly you're not able to put them above other things. And I know it's not always that black and white, but you've got to think about that. So if you put down some goals, you're finding that you cannot achieve them or you're struggling to achieve them, you are then struggling to get rid of things that are not aligning to them, go back and look at what you actually said that you wanted. Like, do you really want that? Did you want it for the right reasons? Etc. Number 4, you are going to have ruthless, regular check-ins with yourself. You cannot write down your goals, shove them in a drawer, and forget them. You need to review your goals as much as you can. And I'm not saying do it every day, but do it definitely at least on a monthly basis. And if you want, do it on a weekly basis to some degree as well. But you need to constantly, remind yourself what those goals are because it can be easy to forget. If you've got a lot of them like I do, I had this whole categorization system of like different sized goals, and this Kanban board of mine gets kind of out of control. So I admit I do have to revisit it quite a lot because I like breaking things down into quite a granular level. But secondly, you need to track them. It's more about the tracking. It's about keeping yourself honest and making sure that as the time passes, you realize how much time you have left compared to how much progress you've made. Something I will be focusing on is progress over perfection. I believe that taking a small step gives you momentum. And oftentimes it is that momentum that we are lacking that is actually the hardest place to get to. But once you have that momentum, it's a lot easier to keep going. Again, bringing it back to my demonstration, starting the marathon training is damn hard. But you start with day 1, week 1, then you go to day 2, week 1, day 3 is a break. So guess what? You're almost already halfway through week 1. Then you go to day 3, week 1, and bit by bit, you're making tiny progress. You might be sore, it might be hard, you might be out of breath or whatever that is for you, but you've almost done the hardest part. It's a lot easier to stop your progress that you are making than it is to start again. So remind yourself that when you make small steps is you've almost done the hardest thing. And I think this kind of comes back to the confidence and competence loop again. It's like I've taken the first step that's given me a boost of confidence. Even maybe that thing was really hard or I didn't do a good job of it. Now I've got to do the next step, which makes me feel a bit more confident. I think it's kind of like the same loop, but like a slightly different version of it. And the reason I said these check-ins should be ruthless is because of what I said at the start. You're going to have goals that do not align with future versions of you. And I think that is an absolutely good thing. And you should totally keep an eye out for that. Don't try and hold on to the goals you wrote down just because you wrote them down or a past version of you wrote them down. Be honest with yourself about whether you really want this. Be honest with yourself around how much effort it's going to take to get there. And don't be shy about saying, you know what, I don't think I want this anymore. Or maybe I need to pause this for now, give it a couple of months, completely take it off my plate. And if I'm still thinking about it, then I know I want it. But right now, I'm not giving any attention to it. I'm not able to prioritize it. Maybe I don't want it. I personally use Notion for all of my goal tracking, goal progress documenting, and my regular check-ins. I have a Kanban board. Each column is a category or different part of my life. And then all of my cards have a bunch of different fields. And I usually tag each goal by quarter because I try and have a rough target for which quarter of the year I want to achieve that goal. I have different statuses. Once I tick something off, I move it, which is incredibly satisfying. And if I could have a physical Kanban board up on my wall, I probably would, because it would be like this. And I absolutely love that. But Notion works wonders for me because I can take it everywhere and I can look at it anytime that I want. I also write notes in each of the cards. Sometimes I put photos in there as well when I've made progress towards something, or I want to celebrate something, I'll put a photo in the card for that goal as well. But yeah, I do have a Notion template for my goals, so I will link that below in case you're interested. I also believe that sometimes we think we should have goals for the sake of having goals. And let me tell you, I have leaned into periods of my life where my goal has been to have no goals. Because sometimes that is the best thing you can do for yourself, is just to have a break. Constantly trying to achieve something is exhausting. I absolutely love it and I mostly thrive on it, but it can be exhausting. But setting yourself up for something just because you think you should or it's the right thing to do is almost certainly a guarantee that you're not going to want to put the right energy into it. It most probably will drain your energy. So it is also okay. Have periods where you don't set goals. Overall, I think in life you should set goals because that is what is going to lead you down the path that you want to go. Otherwise, how do you know where the hell you're going? But it's also okay to have periods where you don't have them. And last but not least, I want you to start using the fresh start effect. I don't know what the fancy psychology term for this is, but essentially it means that as human beings, we are usually more motivated to pursue goals at the start of something, after a symbolic new beginning. That could be the start of a new year, a birthday, even the start of a new week, maybe moving to a new country, and that's your fresh start. But symbolic new beginnings is typically when we are most motivated to pursue the dreams that we have. So harness this effect, the fresh start effect, as much as you can. Harness it effectively so that at the start of every month or every quarter, maybe for you it's the start of a season. For me, it's definitely at the start of every month, if not the start of every week as well. It depends on the week sometimes, but without fail, it is the start of every month. Create those times of fresh starts for you, because sometimes all you need is a bit of a reset. If you feel like you're off track, it's okay. Let the time go that has already passed and start fresh tomorrow because it's Monday, or tomorrow because it's May the 1st. Treat that as a mini reset to realign with your goals. You can do this at the same time as your ruthless regular check-in, but you can also do this at any point you want. It could even be when you're having a bad day and you want to reset yourself in the middle of the day. Maybe you do like a 10-minute meditation, or you go for a run, you go for a walk, and then at the end of that is your reset. It's just getting used to using this as a tool for yourself whenever you need it, and it can work absolute wonders. Because sometimes I think we feel like if we let something go beyond that symbolic new beginning, then it's too late, or, there's no point starting now, or there's no point continuing. No, you can create that fresh start anytime you want. And again, it's just a bit of a mental trick to get you to reset. And that is it for this video. That is how we are going to achieve every single goal that we set for ourselves in 2025. Thank you so much for watching. If you got this far, comment below your most interesting goal for next year, and let's do this together. See you in the next one.